Hi friends, I'm Bob Freeman.
I'm Connor, and we're with the Oak Hill RPG Club.
Today we're going to offer up some DM tips. We thought we would talk about how to take your non-player characters and use them as a vehicle to expand the roles of your player characters and to bring more role-playing from them into the game. There comes a point in time in any game when your player characters maybe not role-playing the way perhaps they should. They're in a rut, and you need to find a way to kind of break them out of that rut. And in other times, sometimes they're just not in role-playing mode at all from the start. So how do you bring that out? One of the things I like to do is to use the non-player characters as a method of engaging the characters. You could be in a transitional phase, moving from one town to another. An NPC is there in the wagon, and they turn and say, "So, where are you from?" Or, "What were your parents like?" You know, any kind of question that kind of unlocks a little bit of interaction and a little bit of role play.
I've always found that the way I like to use my NPCs is have them set examples for the players. For example, my players are in this town, and among the characters in the town, there's this world-renowned monster hunter. He encourages them to do things they sometimes forget, such as checking for traps and doing little dungeon crawl tricks, like spotting this in the corner, making investigation checks at the right moment inside a room. He's meticulous about finding every piece of information. And so they are slowly learning to act in that manner when the time calls for it.
Yeah, that's a great way to take new players that maybe aren't familiar with the way the game, with the way the game is played, the way you interact with your different skill sets. Having an NPC there to help teach them that. That's great. I'm assuming that they always appear to be Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, I love that idea. That's great. Now, for older players who may have gotten a little lazy in the role-playing field, by having those NPCs do the same thing, to kind of light a spark under them, it's a great way to engage.
Yeah, having NPCs set an example not only for playing, but have an NPC setting an example for role-playing.
Yes.
Have NPCs with their own backstories, their own motives, and have those backstories and motives interact with the player's own motives and backstories.
Yeah, it should be layered. Yes, yeah, I agree totally. That's a great point. So having like townspeople and nobles and stuff like that is great. A great use of NPCs to interact with the players. But sometimes I think that you can use your villain as a great foil for the players and to engage and pull certain role-playing elements out of them by the way they act and react to the players.
Yes. You have this villain, and perhaps he is just this manipulative character who's always somehow a few steps ahead of the characters.
Yeah.
And the players will have emotional reactions to such a villain. And perhaps this villain has some ties to certain characters' backstories and their former lives before they became adventurers. And so they're going to have this reaction to seeing this villain and meeting him in combat or battling him in wits and tactics.
Yeah, I like that. I think one of the hardest things to do is to get players to have an emotional resonance a connection with each other and with NPCs. And it's on you as a dungeon master to try to pull them in and to force them to interact. Now, every player is not going to become engaged in the same way, and that's just a given. But any little bit that you can pull out of them and get them comfortable sharing at the table will just make the gaming experience better for everybody involved.
Yes.
So we've talked a little bit about townspeople, NPCs that you meet in a village or on the road. A little bit about the villains,
yes.
But another good vehicle for pulling role-playing experiences out of your players is religion and the gods and priests that interact
yes.
with those gods. That's that is such an emotional thing, a connection
yes.
with deity, that using that as part of the game really enhances it, and it makes it feel more real. It brings forth that verisimilitude that the game so desperately needs.
Yes, you'll have moments where the players will be confronted with various religions at the same time, and that they may have to make choices on which group of followers needs to be saved or which deserves to be helped. As my own players, they're having problems with the priest of this generally good god, but the priests are all jerks and they're abusing their power.
Right.
So the god is really a good guy, but they don't know how to react to these priests who are generally just absolute jerks.
So what I take from that is what you're doing, and which is a great tool for any DM to bring into the game, is to create moral dilemmas for the players so that they have to make a choice. And sometimes there is no right choice. And making them make those hard decisions just enhances the game and makes it a more enriching role-playing experience. So we could probably talk about this for hours, but we're going to go ahead and keep it short. We'd like to thank you for tuning in, and please remember to like and share our videos and our channel. And we really appreciate you tuning in and listening to us. And we'll have a lot more content soon. Connor and I are both working on the Occult Detective role-playing game, which is sort of a side project for our Oak Hill RPG Club. So you can expect to see more videos on that as well. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.
See you guys.